This has been an amazing trip. Let's talk about it. Hi, AJ here with Byte Size Cruises. So today I want to talk about how this trip really went. So this has been 7 days on board the Royal Princess, and honestly, this is one of the best trips that I have been on overall. Let's walk through everything and break it down. So, starting out with embarkation, I will say I hate the Vancouver cruise port. So if you saw my day one vlog, you know that, something always goes weird with my embarkation days. And this time the Lyft driver tried to drive off with my stuff. But other than that, like, embarkation went about how I expected, from the aspect of just knowing that it was going to be rough in the Vancouver port. So not the smoothest embarkation. It did take a really long time. It takes about 45 minutes to do embarkation from the Vancouver cruise port, just so you know. If you have any mobility issues, I do recommend not following the signs, but actually there's ways to get in upstairs so you don't have to go up and down as many times. I every time go down and then have to go back up and then have to go back down and then have to go back up. It's a lot of up and down. It makes no sense. None of it makes sense. And it takes a long time. But once I was on board, like once Princess took over, everything was smooth. All of the Princess parts were smooth. So, embarkation, it was fine. Not the worst, not the best. I didn't have to wait in the port at all. It just was in there for a long time because the port is inefficient, the port itself. All right, next up, food. I had low expectations for food on this cruise. I will say that I was pleasantly surprised. The food had more flavor than I was expecting it to. On Island Princess, it was really bland, and I actually enjoyed a lot of the food that I ate on board. And I even did try Alfredo's pizza this time. Finally, it only took me to my 4th Princess cruise to try Alfredo's pizza, which was delicious. It was amazing. So, I don't think that with Princess, their like included food's fine, but I don't hold it to like a super high standard. And that's true for most of the cruise lines. It's just like, if you're going to do the buffet, if you're going to do the dining room, that's not where their A game is. And I think that because I'm not a foodie, it's always kind of rough because I don't want to spend the money to eat at like Sabatini's or any of the specialty dining because I know that I'm not going to get as much out of it. I don't want to spend that money. So I do appreciate the casual dining. The pizza was fantastic. I also really liked the soft serve. It was better on the Island Princess, but they had different flavors on this one, so it wasn't just vanilla and chocolate. You could also get strawberry and lemon throughout the week. They had a specialty flavor every day, which was really nice. And the texture was still good. It just oftentimes was not completely set when I went to get it. It wasn't as custardy, but it was still like really good. So yeah, the food was fine. Better, like it was edible. I wasn't like anxious to get off the ship and eat things like I was before. So yeah, I really did like the food. Entertainment. Okay, the cruise director staff, amazing. That whole activities team, they have a really good rapport. It was the same cruise director as on Island Princess, and I really like him. He really is passionate about his job and does a really good job with it. This time there was definitely more stuff going on every day. On Island Princess, it really felt like it wasn't Princess's normal level of activities happening. Whereas on this one, it was, and it was more different things. So they had a florist come in and do floral arrangements, and that was awesome. They had all of the game shows. They had Princess Live to put the game shows in. They had trivia. They had arts and crafts. They had the shows. And for the entertainment show-wise, the production cast wasn't great. But they had a Whitney Houston tribute person come in. She was fantastic. They had a guy who plays Jean Valjean on the West End. he was amazing, so much better than expected. And then, they had Taj Jackson come on and do a talk, and that was really interesting. I am not the biggest Michael Jackson fan, but I learned a lot about the Jackson family and like what it was like growing up in that environment, which I thought was a really unique thing to do. And then something that's like special to Princess is they have these enrichment times. And so they have a naturalist on board who's talking to you about whales and salmon and bears and clouds and how to take nature photography. And then the captain's wife did a talk on the history of cruising and where she thinks cruising is going in the future. And I was not bored. My bigger problem was actually on sea days. I had reserved the Sanctuary, and there was so much to do that I didn't feel like I needed it, that it was hard to carve out the time to go up there and experience it, which was something that I had really wanted to do from a standpoint of finding quiet places on board. But I really enjoyed the activities and the effort put into them. So yeah, entertainment, I was not bored once this cruise. And I'm by myself, and sometimes it's really hard to not get bored when you're by yourself. But I had a really great time, and there was always something to go and do. Next up is the ship. So this is a teenager ship. Like, it's not super old, it's not super new. And it's very similar to the Enchanted Princess, which I was on last September. Almost the exact same layout. There's little things that are different, like Princess Live was open on that one and it was closed on this one. And there are some like pros and cons to the open versus closed. I actually felt like it being closed, I think that not as many people realized what was happening and stopping to congregate right there. But with it being open, you could fit more people in. So like, I see why they went with open. But the ship is, I think, the perfect size. It's not so big that you feel like you're missing things and you haven't gotten to see anything. There are things on the Oasis class ships that I had been on an Oasis class twice, and I didn't know that they were there when I went and did the Symphony ship tour. And I don't really love the ships that are that big, whereas this is like, it's a medium size. Like, there are 19 decks, that's still huge, but they're like really well laid out. Unlike the Caribbean Princess and the Island Princess, where there's a lot of like weird switchbacks, you can go all the way through on this one. It's very walkable, very accessible. I really like this ship a lot. And I feel like, yeah, it's clean, it's well taken care, it's well maintained, nothing's been broken or not working. I will pause on that. Actually, there was one thing in Princess Live. There's this one seat that I kept sitting in, and I kept having water drip out of the ceiling onto me while I was sitting there, and that is a very disconcerting feeling. But that was really it. That's the only thing that was really like broken about the ship. And still, like, there's still places that I haven't like hung out on the ship. Like, I thought I was going to spend more time in the Wheelhouse Bar. I haven't. The Vista Lounge, I was in there for the Captain's Circle, but other than that, I really haven't been in there. So there's plenty of room there, and with everything going on, like an Oasis class ship, there's different things pulling people in different directions. So there hasn't been overcrowding in shows and game shows and things like that. It's been a very organic feeling movement around the ship. It hasn't felt super crowded. There haven't been a lot of times where I've wanted to like push people out of the way type thing. And I've been able to get into everything I've wanted to get into. So I do really like the ship overall, and I do think it's a good design. Which brings us to service. So I talked a little bit about this in my Sea Day vlog, which you haven't seen yet, because it'll come out after this. I learned this trip that I've said in past debriefs and vlogs that I really felt like Princess staff and crew were happier than a lot of other cruise lines. And I learned why. So there's international law about how many rest hours a person has to get in a day. And the law is 10. Princess makes sure everybody has 11, and they are working towards 12. And they want to be an industry leader in this because they want happy, healthy, they want their staff and crew to be happy and healthy. They want people to want to work here. And that really does show through. Everyone is polite, everyone is patient. My only weird service thing is I was up in the sanctuary and kind of got ignored for part of the afternoon the one day. And then a manager, I was looking around for someone, because you can't get your own stuff up there. You have to flag down a waiter, and I couldn't find one. And they kept coming by and just passing me by even when I was trying to wave them down. So finally got a manager's attention, and she was just like, "Do you need help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just wanted to order a drink." And she was like, "Okay." And she went and got the person, and he came over and he was like, "I'm so sorry, I thought you already had one." And I'm like, "No," but that was fine. It's one thing. And that's really been the only service complaint. People, the bars haven't been super crowded and overrun. Everyone looks like they are well rested and friendly, and I love it. The service has been amazing. When I went to Alfredo's for pizza, my waiter there was absolutely awesome. Answered my questions, customized my salad for me. It was a really good experience. So the service overall has been really, really good. And they still do 2 cleanings a day for the stateroom, which is also really nice. And my room steward is very friendly and has been awesome. So yeah, been really enjoying it. Next up, the tech and Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi is actually currently out. I can't log into anything. I can't get on my computer. I got back on the ship and it just, no internet is working. So that's interesting. But other than that, it's been okay. The problem with satellite internet is this trip, the weather has been terrible. We've had a lot of rainy weather, a lot of wind, a lot of waves and stuff like that. And that really impacts the satellite internet. So the internet has been very, very slow up until yesterday and today, where it's been really fast because we've had clear skies. So that's not anything with the ships. That's just satellite internet. And then other than that, the technology's all worked really well. There was a app update in the middle of the trip, which made it interesting because I was like, I don't think there's enough internet to reload this app. But yeah, the technology's been fine. The TVs are a little glitchy. The medallions work great. Haven't had to re-swipe at the door like I did on the Caribbean Princess. And overall, very pleased with the technology on board. It didn't really get brought in as much in the shows like it did on Enchanted Princess. I was really hoping they were going to do Five Skies. That was so cool last time. But they don't have that show on board. So yeah, the tech's been fine. Which brings us to the itinerary, since we were already talking about the weather. I really enjoyed this itinerary, but I think part of it is the ship that I'm on. It's a lot of sea days. 3 sea days is a lot of sea days for a 7-day trip. Technically 4 sea days, because you have embarkation day, then we were in Victoria, then 2 sea days back to back, then San Francisco, then another sea day, then San Diego. That's a lot of sea days. But I really liked, these were all basically new ports for me. I had only been to San Diego once before, and that was completely a different part of San Diego. So I really enjoyed this itinerary. Victoria was beautiful. I could live there. I could live in Victoria. San Francisco was amazing. It was so much, people were so worried about me going to San Francisco, and I really liked that city. I didn't feel like it was overrun with homeless people, like people were warning. That was more San Diego. San Diego, there was a lot of homeless people, but San Francisco was fine. And I enjoyed all the walking that I did there. And San Diego Day, we got in about 8:30. I walked around, didn't really love San Diego, but I, you know, that's because it smelled weird in downtown. I did like the waterfront, so I will say if you are going to visit San Diego, maybe stick to the water touristy areas. And yeah, and then it's really interesting starting in one place and ending in another. That's something that I haven't done before. So I definitely would do it again because repositioning cruises are kind of interesting as people come on board, and it's, yeah, I liked the itinerary a lot in the end. Especially because, like I said, there was so much going on. I actually really enjoyed the sea days. Which brings us to our last point, which is people. So, the two most represented populations on this trip were Canadian and American. Americans eked out a little bit, but there were also West Coast Americans for the most part. And I have to say that the last cruise I was on the Island Princess, there was so much entitlement. There was so much just terrible things coming out of people's mouths. And that really wasn't the case here. I haven't seen people like getting annoyed with each other. Well, I will tell you a story about the show the one night. But for the most part, like everyone's been really kind. No one's been super entitled. Everyone's been polite. My biggest complaint with the people is that everyone is just sexually harassing the cruise director team, the activities team, which makes me so uncomfortable. But like, that's on a lot of these cruises. There hasn't been a lot of kids on this one, so it's been a really quiet trip. So the one people thing that I saw is there was the one night, I don't remember why the one show was like packed out, and there were people trying to find seats. I'm by myself, and there is one seat next to me. And then there's a family of, I think, Russians, and they had like 4 seats saved. And then an Asian couple came over and sat in 2 of their seats and wouldn't get up. They were like just pretending they couldn't hear anyone. And so the Russian family is like arguing about what's happening, and this couple's just looking forward. So then the woman crouches down next to them and is just kind of like looking at the couple, and they're pretending they can't see her. And the rest of the family is still like kind of arguing about what they're going to do. They're putting kids on their lap. So finally, another group of people get up and they're like, "We're just going to move." And they're like, "You're so rude." So they get up, they leave, and the family asks the couple to move to their seat, which they do, and then they all sit together. But it was just like, you're not supposed to save seats at the theater anyway. So that was interesting. That was really the only like altercation of any sort that I saw. Everyone's been really into playing the games and enjoying things. I haven't really heard much complaints out of people. It's just completely different from the last cruise where everyone was complaining about everything. Yeah, it was really kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit after that last one. So yeah, last thing that I will cover is disembarkation, but that is future AJ. They'll break in and tell you all about how that went. I am going to be doing a transfer to LAX from the ship, which is my first time doing that. So that's interesting. So I will definitely break in and tell you how that went. I do want to pause before I do that and ask that if you have enjoyed this video, or if you're looking forward to the vlogs that will be coming out about the trip to kind of give you all those little details that I teased in this, I would please ask that you like and subscribe. It does really help the channel out. It helps us to bring you more content like this and lets us know what content you like.
So disembarkation are going very smoothly. I had a transfer between the cruise port and the airport. And so my meeting time was at 8:15. So I had a nice leisurely morning to get off the boat. Went down to the Elite Lounge around 7. Had some a light breakfast and then headed to the lounge at 7:45. And basically was right away told to go ahead and get off the ship. Something I really like about how Princess does it is that if you are not in the, at least this ship, if you're not in the group being called, they don't let you off the boat. They will actually send you back to one of the waiting areas. You have to go by your assigned group, whether you are walk off or a transfer. And that really made it for a very nice morning. So it went very smoothly. Once we were told to go, I was off the boat in 5 minutes. I did end up standing in line for about 20 minutes to get to the bus, and then got on the bus, and it was a smooth trip to the airport. So all in all, I do think that they handled disembarkation very well. Um, and it was a nice, smooth, easy experience. Yeah. So all there's to say about that. Back to past AJ.
There you have it. That wraps up the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me for the upcoming videos, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.